Hello, welcome to the channel of Contemporary Literary Review India. In today's interview, I am with author Anne De Silva. Anne De Silva is an Indian author who hails from Mumbai, India. She has spent over 2 decades in the corporate world, having worked in different positions in different organizations across the globe. Anne is a humanitarian and passionate about CSR. Her initiative, India Heart, works for the empowerment of rural women in India. Passionate about words, she eventually discovered that writing is her calling and storytelling an expression of her creativity. She is an avid traveler and advocates social causes. She has spoken on women's empowerment on several platforms. She is a global Goodwill Ambassador and the recipient of the prestigious award Women's Leader for 2021. Presently, she is a member of the Honorary Global Board of Asian African Chambers of Commerce and Industry and relocated to Turkey in 2019 and has been living in Istanbul since then. She has 3 books to her credit until now, titled Sand and Sea, The Child of Two Worlds, Sand and Sea, Footprints in the Sand, and Verses of a Rising Phoenix. Before I move ahead, please subscribe to our channel. Hello, Miss Anne De Silva. Welcome to our channel. How are
Hello,
you?
Khurshid. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an honor for me. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. My pleasure. Okay, so the first question is, would you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. So like Khurshid just mentioned my name, I'm Anne De Silva. I'm of Indian origin and I now live in Istanbul. I have been in the corporate world for over 2 decades, and then I took a sabbatical. I did some CSR work with a foundation which I started called India Heart. And then after that, my calling took the better of me, which is writing. And I wrote my first book, which was published in 2019. And that's when I relocated to Istanbul. My present book, and I can show you that, which is Footprints in the Sand, is currently a bestseller.
Okay.
And it's a trilogy. This is the second book, which is Child of Two Worlds.
Okay.
This was released this year. And I also released a third book, which is a compilation of poetry. So I am actually, my niche is I am a travel writer. I write about different countries, but with a social message. All my books are female oriented, message and premise. It talks about the stigmas of society. It talks about the struggles of women. It talks about women having the freedom to make their decisions in life and so on and so forth. I won't tell you too much about it, otherwise they won't read the book. But yes, I'm a travel writer, and India and Turkey have a lot of similarities in terms of there was a Turkish rule in India with the Mamluk dynasty in northern India. So everyone knows this queen called Razia Sultan. She was Turkish. And so my books take my readers across the journey of Mumbai and Delhi, and then the whole country of Turkey and its various cities, its gastronomy, its language, its culture, its traditions, its religion, it's everything. So even if you never visit Turkey and you read the series, you will actually feel that you have come to this country and you've experienced, you know, its history, traditions, and everything else.
Okay. That's great. So what are the chief themes generally in your writing? Chief themes, particularly in the sense that do you select the same themes for poetry and for novel or something, some lights on that?
Sure. So firstly, I'd like to share that mostly when you write prose, you don't have poetry and prose. So I wanted to break that so-called do and don'ts. So my books have poetry and prose. I think I'm a natural poet since I was a child. I could express myself in rhyme way easily than, writing a 500-word essay. And so
Mhm.
I knew that was my strength. I kept a journal, and in my journal, I have lots and lots of poetry. And
Okay.
so I've used that in my trilogy. So the themes basically that interest me is understanding nature, understanding a religion with a very simple understanding and not the complexities of structured religion, but more spirituality.
Mm.
And that is one which is all inclusive, whether you look at Sufism, which is very big in Turkey and also now in the world. It talks about the universal spirit of God, and everybody connects to God. So basically a structured religion has middlemen, and spirituality is a direct connection with God. So that's a subject very close to my heart, and I've studied it. I have been a speaker on it, and so I wanted to use that. And
Mhm.
then, of course, the creation is the glory of the creator. So it's Mother Nature, and the respect to Mother Nature, and how Mother Nature avenges herself every time humanity disrespects her. So we've seen that through climate change, we've seen that through tsunamis, we've seen that through volcanic eruptions, we've seen that through, cyclones. It's a message to mankind, to correct your ways. And then it comes to the concept, which is again closest to my heart, which is love. Today love is like espresso coffee. You fall in love and it gets cold, you fall out of love and you move on. But that is not love. Love is a greater calling. Love is what brings the humanity out of you. Love is what brings, what I believe, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So basically, love brings out that spirituality in us. And then there is no color, there's no race, there's no land, there's no denominations of how much of dollars or euros you have in your pocket. It is an all-inclusive, feeling that welcomes people to you, where strangers become friends and you find a home in every place that you go. So I wanted to write about this true meaning of love in an age where people are losing hope because of the amount of divorces, the amount of heartbreak. You speak to the younger generation, they're probably on their second or third relationship. You speak to 40s, people are totally jaded, and they say, don't talk about this illusion called love. And it's only great when you watch a Shah Rukh Khan film for 3 hours that you say, okay, there is this true love. But no, this is not a reality. There is true love in this world.
Mm.
It is only the mismatch of expectations, because love may not come in, the looks that you look for. So,
Mm.
we are beings which are more of the unseen. I believe in the unseen, the spirit, the intuition, the gut feeling, the breath that we breathe. My first poem starts with, people don't believe in the unseen anymore, only
Mm.
in things that they can see for sure. They
Right.
say love and soulmates exist no more, yet they breathe an unseen air to live for sure. So most of the beauty of life is in the unseen. So these are my subject. This is the subject of the
Mm.
trilogy.
Right.
And, this is how I've developed it. Nature becomes a real character in book 2. And,
Mm.
the main protagonists are from 2 different worlds. They
Mm.
don't understand each other at all, but
Mm.
their spirit is what connects them. And
Mm.
then the bigger good of society and life happens through that.
Right. Right. Okay. You talk about women empowerment. So, how
Yeah.
do you think that empowering women is important for a better society?
So you see, I feel that in the last 50 years, we have seen this terminology called women empowerment and
Mm.
women leaders and women change makers happening. There was this rebellion against patriarchal society a
Mm.
long time ago, but the numbers were very small. If you
Mm.
look at society, did not, or religion for that matter, did not consider women an equal to man, firstly. which is totally wrong, because if you really study the books, the holy books, whether it's the Quran or the Bible or the Torah or other books, it has always said that one complements the other. It never said that one is lower than the other. You know, it is interpretation of
Mhm.
people in power which says one is lower than the other. It is just different functions to each person. It's like if you're driving a car, the steering wheel has a different function, the gear has a different function. Doesn't make the steering wheel more important and the gear less important. Do you understand? So when
Right.
we come to this whole concept of empowerment, you know, it's happened over the last 50 years because grandmothers started raising their daughters differently, who are our mothers. And then we as women grew up and we had a very different perception of life, because most women got educated, they got jobs, and then they started seeing that why should women get a lesser pay? Or why should women be treated differently? Why
Mm.
cannot a woman be celebrated? So this
Right.
whole empowerment thing of mine that I believe in, and I also have a talk show which is Ann Talks Woman Enough. It is basically to say that we're not fighting with men. There is no fight with men here. We cannot survive without men. You know, the world is man and woman. There is nothing else there. You know, if
Right.
if if, if life has to go on, it is a complementary journey together. But yes,
True.
what is important to understand is today, every father who has a daughter wants his daughter respected. You know, every man who has a sister wants his sister respected. You know, every person who has a protege who's a girl, he wants to nurture her. So this nurturing is coming from men. But the point is that there is also a certain category or percentage of violence which is becoming too much, and that is because of you know, today women earning the same money as men, having the same decisions that they can make to be happy in their lives, so they can remarry or they can divorce. Earlier these options were not there.
Mm.
So this is when I talk women empowerment, is women are just understanding themselves better. And my book says that the man is kum, which is sand, from where, you know, man came. You know, if you look at the Semitic religion, says that man was made from clay. And woman is like the sea. She's unmeasurable. So why does a man have to understand a woman? I don't understand. A man should enjoy it. If today you go to an ice cream parlor, you enjoy the ice cream. You don't go to the chef and start asking him the recipe. You know, we have to come to that understanding simply that we appreciate and enjoy men for their
Mhm.
strengths, for
Right.
their individual capacities, and men do the same with women. So today they're calling it empowerment. It's basically understanding yourself, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, the important question is, as you are saying that, okay, each, yeah, that means man and woman,
Yes,
complements each other. Okay. So from
yes,
that point of view, what can be the role of a man in empowering women? This is very
yes.
important because you cannot write off the role of man, particularly in empowering women, when we say.
Of course, you cannot, because it will not function. It is not a world of women. It's a world of men and women. Okay. So I think the first thing has to stop. Like, if you remember, you're Indian, so you will understand this very easily. Beta, kitni achhi ho. Tum to meri beta jaisi ho. I mean, the very fact that you're telling a woman that you have to be a beta, then you're fine, means there's a problem in the upbringing. So you have to say, beti tum kitni achhi ho, tumhari jaisi beti sabko mile. You know, that's the thinking mindset that has to start happening in the house,
Hmm.
where a girl is can also play soccer and can play cricket. You know,
Hmm.
a girl can also do things. It is like it would be said to you that if you're a girl, you have to go to the kitchen to cook. If fathers start telling the sons कि तुम omelette Sunday को बनाना, the thinking process of the man becomes that cooking is not only a woman's job, firstly. So
Right.
it's the whole upbringing, you know, and we cannot change society, because whatever is impressioned as a child is what you grow into being. If you
Hmm.
come from a family where girls are treated, you know, equal to men, you look at women and say, this is a very normal thing, you know, she can live
Hmm.
her dreams. But if you
Right.
come from a society which says, beta hi kar sakta hai, then there is a problem. So yes, fathers need to, and fathers are doing this today. They are putting their daughters in self-defense courses to learn taekwondo. They are, telling their daughters, if you want to pursue becoming a DJ, go ahead and do it. Today's fathers are very open-minded, which is beautiful. So
True.
what we've seen in the past, where we struggled to get permission, कि daddy मैं बाहर जा सकती हूँ, हाँ 7 बजे तक आ जाना. That's not the era we are living in today. We are living in an era where the daddy asks you कि तुम क्या बनना चाहती हो? What do you want to become? So men are doing a great service to today's generation of young girls that are growing up. They appreciate them for their freedom of thought. They
Okay.
appreciate them for their wanting to pursue things differently. Sometimes fathers even tell their daughters, when you're ready for marriage, tell me. Earlier it was, तुमने graduation complete कर दिया तो शादी तो हो ही जानी चाहिए. At least engaged तो होना चाहिए. That is not the era we are in today.
Right.
So men play this very important role in telling their daughters they're equal like a man, not equal to a man. That means you're inferior. Now I'm trying to put you equal to a man. You are equal like a man.
Right.
You complement a man and a man complements a woman.
Right.
That
True.
is when a healthy society will function.
In the beginning of your discussion, you mentioned about that there are similarities. So I want to understand that, okay, yes, there are similarities between India and Turkey. So means, how do you judge this or view these similarities?
So yeah, sure. So firstly, the first similarity is the language. There are about 5,000 words in Hindi. Like chai is chai, ashk is ashk, qatil is qatil, kitab is kitab, kalam is kalam. So the words are Hindi in Turkish. So if you're a vernacular local Hindi speaking person, you will hear words in conversation when people are talking all the time, similar to Hindi words. Plus, the grammar also, like the cha. We don't have a cha in English. We have a cha in Turkish and we have a cha in Hindi. So grammatically also, phonetically also, there is a lot of similarity. Culturally, there is a lot of similarity. Jaise band, baja, bairat aati hai. The same way Turkish, when they come to ask bride, they come with, somebody playing the drum and, doing all of that stuff. They also have the same, what we call henna ceremony in India. They have a khana ceremony where they put mehendi on the hand. Except in India, it is very beautifully done with designs and everything else. We have evolved the art. They have very simple henna, which is tied up on the hands. And like how you have the Arabic people also have it, they tie henna for the to-be bride for good luck, Then like we have that, what do you call, lemons that you put outside, ki nazar nahi lagni chahiye. They have a lucky eye, which is called Nazar Bonju. So if you're very pretty or somebody, your mother will give you one Nazar Bonju to wear and you go out. And then like food also is very similar. You have beans in India, lentil in India, which we call dal. They have chorba, which is called soup. They have it without the spice as soup. And then ayran, which is chas. They have ayran here with every meal. So there's a lot of food similarity, clothes similarity, the bright colors and all in the olden times. Now it is more European. So they, like India, everybody is stop wearing glitter and wears more, subtle shades.
Okay. That's great to hear because, yes, I also can understand that, yes, there are many similarities. Okay. So out of all these things, what fascinates you about Turkey? Because you have been in India for quite a long time and now you are seeing Turkey. So what fascinates you?
What fascinates me? I think I have a spiritual connection with this country. I came here in 2017 for work. And then, I had the waking up call with the Izan and it touched my life very deeply. I studied Islam after that. And then I also reverted to Islam. That's my personal choice. My mother is Catholic. My whole family is Catholic and everything. But I reverted to Islam. That was my choice. When I studied in Turkey in terms of my research work, I realized that most of the prophets, have traveled this land, whether it's Prophet Ibrahim, Yaqub, whether it's Jesus's mother, Mary. There is a special place where Mary was. There is all these archaeological findings in terms of Göbekli Tepe is a place which is a UNESCO protected place now, because they found out that there is archaeological finds from the Sumerian time. So there's a lot of history here. The beauty versus India and Turkey is, in India, you have these crazy people who write their names on the Taj Mahal and destroy something as magical as a Taj Mahal, which will never happen in humanity again. And they destroy this. In Turkey, all of that is prohibited. So you can actually go to these, archaeological places, and you can actually see what was there millions of years ago. It is very, very well preserved. There is very low levels of pollution. I mean, the government is very particular about that. There is a lot of wildlife in terms of nature and greenery and mountains. And this land was basically ruled by too many people, the Romans, the Byzantines, earlier than that, the other dynasties, the Mughals, and everybody tried to get this land. For example, Istanbul is used to be called Constantinople, which is Roman, and
Right.
they ruled this, and the Ottomans took it. So there's a great journey of also taking your ownership of your land. Like in India, we're very proud that we fought for our freedom and we got our freedom. And there's a friendship that was there between Gandhi and Ataturk, because both were fighting the British. So
Right.
there were so many similarities that I never felt away from home. I felt this was a second home.
Right.
And here they love Indians, they love Indian cinema, they love Indian food, and they're very friendly people, like Indian people. An Indian, you ask one Indian for direction, 10 Indians will come. It's the
Okay.
same in
Okay.
Turkey.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
it's a good
Okay.
place to live. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So while writing travelogue, what you primarily highlight most, like people or society or culture or everything?
I think it's a mixture. It's spirituality, because I think we are all spirit at the end of the day. And I think that you should never travel to a place only to go to touristic places, because then you're missing the beauty of that country. Wherever you go, there are these hidden gems, you should go to them. Like, say, for example, there is in Turkey, people who love the dervish dances and love Sufism. There is Rumi. You can go to Konya to see the Rumi Tebrisi, You can go to Nalahan to see the Tebrisi of Tapduk Emre and Yunus Emre, who's a poet. So people who are into literature, there is so much that they can go and see in Turkey. People who are into archaeology, there's so much they can go to see in Turkey. You don't necessarily have to go to only the touristic places. And you have to understand that even though we live and we die, if you are a master or a teacher or an artist, like I'll give you a small example. If you go to Italy, you can still go to the studio in Florence to see Leonardo da Vinci's studio. It's so amazing. He lived centuries ago, but you can go and see it there. Same way in Turkey, you can go and see where Yunus Emre, the poet, lived, his humble home. So all of that is non-touristy. And I recommend people to go, if you're experiencing a country, then you should experience the essence of the country,
Correct.
Go to these non-touristy places, because for shopping, you can always go shopping. Keep that as your last option. But
Right.
have an agenda, have an agenda of what you want to see. Like if you want to see the beginning of creation, there's a place called Cappadocia, which has these volcanic eruptions, and there are these conical mountains, which have been beaten by nature. So they are all jagged edged, they come out from the ground. It is ancient. It's ancient. It's from like the beginning of time. I mean, you cannot even, cultivate on that land because it had so many volcanic properties in it, So I recommend people when they travel, they have to have an agenda. What are they traveling for? Are they just wanting to go and take pictures in the popular places? Then they're missing out a country.
Right, right, true. So, okay, as a writer, obviously you might be reading so many books. So, who are your favorite writers?
So I'm a very classics girl. I mean, I don't like the modern books. I'm very inspired by the older books because those writers at that point in time did not have Google. You see, they did not have the chance to check what others are writing and then compete with that. They were true originality. So even when I go to museums, I like the Renaissance age, the older times, because they were in a very beautiful stage. They were in a rebellion stage. They wanted a change to happen. And at the same time, they didn't have Google and WhatsApp and all of those things, So it was their true ideas, that were there. So I think for me, I would say, I like ancient books. I like Tolkien, which is Lord of the Rings. I'm very, very in love with the series, in love with the films, because I think he created a language there. He created creatures there, and that was obviously seen with J.K. Rowling in Harry Potter. But the father of creating languages and creating beasts and all of that is basically Tolkien, from the Lord of the Ring and the Hobbit series.
Okay.
So that's my favorite. From the women writers, of course, Harry Potter and Rowling is my favorite, because I think she's done a phenomenal job, and that's why she's most successful in this 21st century.
Right.
But I also like Jane Austen. I love Jane Austen very much. I think she had a very bright mind for a woman of that time, and she wrote beautifully. And I also like Marlowe, which is a competition to Shakespeare, and Dr. Faustus, and contradictory characters where the bad man is actually the good man and the good man is actually not so good. The hidden elements. That kind of characters interest me. Where you have to go a little deeper to see why that person became who he became. So I think those would be my top favorites.
Okay, out of 3 books, which is the bestseller from your?
The first one so far, because this came out in 2019.
Okay.
It's called Footprints in the Sand.
Okay.
I will tell you in English and Turkish. Sand and sea sand and sea means kum ve deniz. Kum is sand, sea is deniz.
Okay.
And footprints in the sand is kumdaki ayak izleri in Turkish.
Oh, great. Great.
So yeah, this is the bestseller. And this is the second book of the series, which is again Kumbe Deniz, but Child of Two Worlds, which is Iki Dunyada. Dunya Hindi, Iki Dunyada. Iki means two. Dunyada, Chujuk. Chujuk means child.
Okay.
And this is about the Syrian refugees, because Turkey took in 5 million Syrian refugees, and then they rehabilitated them and all. So yes, it has a social message. It has a message on humanity. It has message on stigmas of women in society. It has it talks about adoption, which is another subject that it's very close to me. Yeah.
Okay. Now.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Now you can share your personal views. Just anything if you want.
No, I think this is a good show. Very good questions asked, good insights. And I think that, these kind of shows should happen more often, because before a person reads a book, they can get an opportunity to hear from the author. What is their journey? What are they trying to achieve to do it? Because when my books were read, some people had an emotional connection, because it's about soulmates. So people were talking about how they missed their chance, or they thought somebody was their soulmate. So everyone had a separate and a different experience with the book. But when you do sessions like this, you're basically coming to ask the author, where did she come from or he come from? And what were they trying to put across? Right. It's like art, in art, you can interpret it however you want, if it is abstract art, you can interpret it depending on your thinking. But the artist's opinion is a very good thing to do. I think you're doing a good job on that.
Okay. Thank you. Because see, my purpose is to bring the authors to the people directly. Okay. And this is the medium where people can know and watch the things what the authors are sharing. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for your views and to come and join this discussion with me.